Hey everyone, Desiree here. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how to choose the perfect size traveler's notebook for you. This has been a question that I've gotten so many times over the years, and I thought that as part of my beginner series on traveler's notebooks, that this would be a really good video or a really good topic to talk about, because so many of you kind of go through this trial and error process of trying to figure out what size traveler's notebook is going to work best for you. So let's go ahead and break it down and kind of figure out what we can do to figure out how to find the perfect size traveler's notebook. Okay. Now, one of the first things you want to do when you have decided that you are ready to use traveler's notebooks, either for planning, journaling, or whatever, is to figure out what size is going to work for you. Now, there are some people in one camp who automatically know the size that they need and that they like and that they prefer and that works. And then there's those of us in the other camp who kind of have to go through this Goldilocks, oh, this one's too small, this one's too big. And so I wish that I had an easy answer, and I wish I had the magic secret of how to figure out what's going to work for you. But if you're not in the camp of people who automatically know right off the bat what's going to work, I'm going to share some tips on how I kind of figured out what's going to work for me. Now, in my last video, 6 things that you should consider before buying your first traveler's notebook, one of the things that I talked about was, what is your traveler's notebook going to be used for? So once you kind of have that figured out, you can determine what size is going to work for that particular purpose. So for instance, if you're going to use a traveler's notebook for planning, well, you're going to probably want one that's big enough to include all of the things that you like to write down and notes and maybe some lists that you want to carry with you. And that's another thing you have to think about. Are you going to carry this traveler's notebook around with you, or is it going to be something that just stays at home or stays at work or stays on your desk or in your locker at school? So for me, I'll kind of explain my own personal journey. One of the things that I did is, when I first got into traveler's notebook, I knew right away that I wanted the standard size. And I have one here. This is a standard size traveler's notebook because I know me, I write big, and so when I'm forced to write in a small space, it kind of stresses me out and gives me anxiety. Plus, I don't want to have to worry about being so neat, and if I have plenty of room, I can write big, I can scribble, and not worry about taking up precious space in the notebook or in one of my inserts. Now, over the years, I have tried the pocket size, the field note size, and I also enjoy using the A5 size traveler's notebook, which is one of the larger sizes, which is almost like a half sheet of paper size notebook, notebook. So again, I use several sizes for different purposes, and don't be afraid to try that as well. You may have to go through a few, and you may have to try several sizes in order to figure out what's going to work, or you may find that 2 particular sizes work really well for you. Right now, it's really popular for a lot of people to have like a smaller size, pocket size traveler's notebook, and then they have like a larger size that they keep at home or at work. And then there's some people who manage to get everything inside one traveler's notebook. That's never been me, and I don't think it ever will be me. And if you hear my dog, I'm very sorry. Now, one of the other things you can do as far as figuring out your perfect size traveler's notebook is, if you can afford to, you can literally just buy the sizes you think are going to work for you and try them out. And if they don't, you can either give them away or resell them. Now, that's one tactic that I had used in the past. I don't recommend it because it can be very expensive. And another way that you can figure out your perfect size traveler's notebook is actually to buy inserts for the size notebook that you think you may be interested in. So for example, if you think that you could use a standard size traveler's notebook, well, you can buy the inserts, which are the little notebooks that go inside of the notebook. You can buy the inserts and see, test them out, hold them in your hand, maybe jot a few things down and see if it's going to work for you. Now, I know a lot of people do this because it's obviously a lot cheaper than buying actual notebooks. And then since you're going to be using the inserts in that particular notebook anyway, you get a really good idea of whether or not that size is going to work for you. Now, the last way you can figure out how to find your perfect size traveler's notebook is to actually maybe print out some papers or templates of the size that you think that you might want to use, and you can kind of get a visual. If you don't have any inserts or you don't have any actual notebooks, you can get a visual and see if those sizes are going to work or if it's going to suit your needs. Now, I will link below an actual template printable that you can access and you can print out, and you can see if that's going to work for you as far as sizing and space in the insert itself or in the traveler's notebook. And that's all the tips I have for you today. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope that sharing my experience and maybe some ideas of other people who I know are using traveler's notebooks and it's working for them, I'm hoping these ideas kind of resonated with you and maybe gave you some tips on how to figure out what's going to be your perfect size. And remember that as time goes on, things change. I know it has been for me. You may start off in one size and it may work perfectly, and then maybe a month, 6 months, or a year later, you may find that your needs have changed and that your traveler's notebook size preference will also change. So don't be afraid to kind of experiment and take your time and just enjoy the journey of learning how to use traveler's notebooks. Okay, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and make sure you do so now. If you have any other questions regarding this topic, feel free to post those down below. And I think that is it. I will continue on in this series, so if you have more ideas about video topics I should include, feel free to either message me or post those down below as well. All right, everyone, thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.